mean, if you're at this age, if you're in your 20s like me, you're probably trying to dabble in dating and figuring out what kind of things you like, what you don't like.
So, it seems like this is gonna be a very relatable show in terms of that.
Okay, your boy completely forgot about this film. Not intentionally, it's just that when you have so many other things coming out, you completely forget about a lot of things. But I'm glad it finally circled back around. Shout out to the person that this video is dedicated to, because if it wasn't for her, I probably would have forgotten about this movie. But yes, Intergalactic. Why I love Intergalactic. Now, if you were to ask anyone who's seen this movie, one thing they'll probably tell you is the stunning and amazing visuals of the animation. A lot of others will probably tell you the banger soundtrack, and some will just tell you the story is just very relatable and very chill. And if you were to ask me, I'd say all of the above. Banger soundtrack, beautiful visuals, amazing storytelling. This is what we like to see. Being African American himself and seeing a lot of toxic relationships, but being portrayed in music and also film, this is a breath of fresh air. Intergalactic is the movie that everyone should see. So, Intergalactic was announced back in 2019 with Kid Cudi and Kenya Barris a part of this film. It took some time, but in 2022 we finally got the film, and I did do a video talking about this, which is, by the way, one of my deep cuts, so it's not like anyone remembers that video. But I finally got around to seeing it, and my goodness, why did it take me 2 years to finally watch this movie? So we start out with the main character, who is Jabari, and Jabari is pretty much an ambitious artist who wants better for his life. He's trying to figure out his life, what he wants to do. He's trying to balance the motives of success, but also finding love. He has a little bit of baggage with his ex, and he's still trying to get over that. But he does find love in a character named Meadow. Meadow moves next to him, and they sort of have a friendship at first, but then it bonds into a relationship. And my goodness, the chemistry between Jabari and Meadow is just simply amazing. It feels very relatable and very natural. You know, sometimes there's a lot of people, and I'm one of those people, that sometimes things feel very forced. Sometimes it doesn't come off very genuine. But in this movie, their dynamic, their chemistry comes off very genuine, very natural, and it's very relatable. Especially with me and my life experiences that I'm starting to have, it's just really bittersweet. I simply love Intergalactic. And then you have other characters that come into the fold that really bring in Jabari and Meadow's world together. You have Jabari's friends. You have Kai, who's played by Ty Dolla. You have Jimmy, who's played by Timothy Chalamet. You have Jordan, played by Jaden Smith. Obviously, you have Jabari's ex, who he's still trying to get over, Carmen. You have, Downtown Pat, which is played by Macaulay Culkin. Shout out to him. Also, on the other side of the fence with Meadow and the people that she interacts with, you have Karina, who is her best friend. You have Nadia. You have Reed. You have Lynn, he's there. You have Tiana Taylor, she's a boxing coach. And then you have the character Jabari came up with. Since he's an artist, he comes up with a character named Mr. Rager. And there's a whole comic and a whole segment that you can see Jabari jumping into the world of Mr. Rager, and this is a nightmare for him. This is sort of like the turning point for him to realize about where he wants to take his life. So again, all of the characters involved with this, everybody has some part to play in Jabari and Meadow's relationship. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this is like Kid Cudi's first ever debut in animation. Obviously after this he's done some stuff. The guy is goated. Like, can we just take a second and talk about Kid Cudi? Not only can a guy sing and rap, but he can act. He's producing stuff. He produced this movie. It's just insane the amount of talent that Kid Cudi has. And I'm gonna say it now. I think Kid Cudi should be on the top 5 list of rappers in today's time. And that's just me. I'm saying that from a simple place of just the impact that he's had. I simply love Intergalactic. But the soundtrack for this movie is phenomenal. From the beginning track with the intergalactic theme, all the way down to the ending track of Burrow. This is a really amazing, way to display music that plays into the story. And it really does play into the story. A lot of the tracks really do give you that feeling, that emotion. And I've spent countless times with this soundtrack just zoning out in the mood, just in the mode, because the music is so melodic. It's so, it's so R&B, it's so in a vibe, like it's just very vivacious. And that's what I love about this soundtrack. So I'm gonna give you a few of my favorite songs on the soundtrack. I mean, all of them are great. Like I said, this is a spectacular soundtrack and I definitely recommend it. 15 songs. If you got Spotify, iTunes, I'm sure it's all there. They're all on YouTube. Some of the few tracks that I love personally, first off is Ignite the Flame. Very beautiful track. In Love. In Love is a track that very much made me feel like I'm just floating in space. Willing to Trust. And the hook. The hook song is very catchy. I can't tell you how many times I've listened to Willing to Trust. Ty Dolla $ign's rhymes in here really adds into the song as well. Maybe So, which Maybe So is just another one of those tracks that makes you feel like you're in space, you're jumping in space, you're laying in the cosmos. And it's just a really smooth melodic track as well. Can't Shake Her. Can't Shake Her feels like a song that would have been on the Spider-Verse soundtrack, especially Across the Spider-Verse. It has very similar vibes. So I'm gonna say this, Sony, you should get Kid Cudi on Beyond the Spider-Verse because he would bring some heat to that track. I mean, Metro, you gotta bring him back too, but Kid Cudi Metro, come on now. That is a collab just waiting to happen. We need to see that. She's Looking For Me. She's Looking For Me is another song with the hook that really gets you into it, and it really gets me into it. My Drug is just a very beautiful song, and the lyrics, I love the lyrics of My Drug. Love is the real thing. Love is a real medicine. All of these songs are great, but those are some of my suggestions and my takes on it, but I love the soundtrack. Ah yes, the foundation, the creation, the laying of the groundwork. Without the art, I mean, come on, what are we doing? I wouldn't even be talking about this. There wouldn't even be a movie. Like, come on. Like, there are a lot of big integral parts and big influences when it comes to the art and just the art style and development of Intergalactic. Starting out with DNEG Animation. DNEG Animation is a London-based animation studio that co-produced the special and translated the concept art into the handmade look that we know of on screen. DNEG's creative initiative was basically to produce a painterly aesthetic, but along with that, there are some major people at play in the contribution. Everybody who made some kind of contribution to this film, I want to give you my flowers and tell you thank you for making this amazing film and just this amazing experience that I've seen so many times. Now, there are actually some inspirations, a lot of inspirations that take place into this film and the development of it. But one of the major points being two movies. The 2019 movie I Lost My Body and the 1989 movie When Harry Met Sally. Intergalactic blends 2D and 3D animation, which uses a slower frame rate to create an otherworldly atmosphere. For those of you who are wondering how long it took them to make this movie, it took them 3 years to make this special. And now for the underlying question that you may have been asking. The question I had exactly after watching the movie, is there an Intergalactic 2? Is it going to happen? Well, it turns out, sadly, that's not going to be the case. Kid Cudi actually took to Twitter a year ago and he said this, and I quote, "Sadly, Intergalactic was a one-off journey, but as far as my future in animation, I got a couple things brewing that are gonna blow your minds. So stay tuned, you will not be disappointed. If you like Intergalactic, I got you." The impact that this movie has had over my life has been very huge. Being someone in his 20s, early 20s might I add, and still trying to figure out this thing called life when it comes to balancing career, friendships, relationships, love, all the other things that come with us being human beings, this movie really did shed a light on many things I had questions with, or just kind of things that I had doubts of in my own mind. I'll be honest, being someone who was constantly trying to grow and better himself through his insecurities and through his flaws, this movie really did paint a light that you can be a better person. You can have good people around you. You can find someone that you can love, and you can love them in such a way that they've never had before. Because in a relationship that feels different, when the love hits different, when the vibe hits different, you're there for her, she's there for you, or whoever you are deciding to be with. It just feels different. And so this movie really did shed some light in, don't be afraid to show your feelings. Don't be afraid to trust someone. Trust someone with your heart. Open up your heart, because if you don't, you'll never find love. Love will never happen if you don't open up your heart. And that's what this movie really showed to me. And, you know, going through, like I said, my experiences and being a little bit more of a better person and just a better guy in general, I'm trying to take that into consideration every single day, to open up my heart, to be there, to be supportive of the person that I'm interested in, or be supportive of my friends, and vice versa. You know, this world is a thing that just keeps on giving. We have to give each other the time of day. We have to uplift each other. We have to give each other love and support and be there, and through the good, through the bad, through the ugly, because those are the strongest people. When people ride with you, you know, regardless of what you're going through, those are the realest people that you'll find. And this movie really taught me that. Even with relationships, if she's someone that you love and she loves you too, she will be there for you. You will be there for her through it all. So that's, again, the message. I love this movie. I love everything about this movie. And that leads me to my final statement. That is why I love Intergalactic. So if you love videos like this, you love these retrospectives, these reviews, and things of that nature, definitely let me know down below, because I enjoy spending a lot of time making this. I worked very hard on this to make sure it's the best that it can be. So give me some comments down below of some movies or TV shows that you would love to see me do some retrospectives on. I would love to go through and kind of watch them and just give my output on certain things. But yeah, with that being said, as I always say, big love to you all, and peace out.